Hey folks, welcome to the weekly chart review. I'm going to dive into Forex and just a little bit of NASDAQ to start with. Pardon the hacking and coughing that you still might hear. This has been a terrible, terrible flu season. My throat is always the first to go and the last to heal. So yeah, it's been rough, especially with cough medicine, supply chains, and all that sort of crap. But we knew what was coming, right? After way back here, in 2021, it was all leading up to what we're seeing now. So anyways, rough go, but it is what it is. We'll all get over it eventually. So quickly on NASDAQ, and yeah, there's some sort of data loading error, but that's because there's a delay. So I'm not really too concerned about it. The charts are still concurrent. Anyway, like I was saying, so where we're at right now, I didn't actually predict this. What ended up happening is NASDAQ consolidated for a little while, but instead of breaking upwards, it actually pulled back down. Okay, now I understand that US interest rates came out this week, or last week I should say, and that's more or less what brought down the market, that expected move, right? On Wednesday, that's when the information came out. Thursday, nothing really improved at that point, and Friday there was a little bit of a rally. Okay, so the thing is though, it came back into that entry zone. All right, so if we take a look in on the charts on a lower time frame, let's jump onto the 4-hour. Okay, we can see this imbalance, or not imbalance, this institutional move right here. Okay, so if we take the Gann box, like I always like to draw from wick to wick, draw it across. Look at that. Okay, so for 2 days it kind of pulled back into that zone, and now it's starting to climb back up. So I know it's been, I was actually expecting this to kind of move up into this box, but it dropped lower. So because it did that, I'll go into more detail on the stock portion of the video, of the weekly reviews. Sorry, a little hazy still. But yeah, I'll explain there is certain stocks that have been very strong and didn't pull back nearly as hard as some others. All right, so that's something to keep an eye out for. I believe that this retracement is probably as deep as it was going to go. Right, at first I was expecting it to be around here. As you can see, I drew the little green arrow. Okay. But now it seems to be this area. That's where it's going to be. Okay, this one was just a deeper 618 retracement, making a double bottom, and then we had the hard rally the next day. But we didn't break that previous peak. So that consolidation between those two lines, I guess, kept going, right? So this is where we're at right now. We'll see how Monday plays out. If we do not break over this yellow line after Monday's close, I'll be concerned that there won't actually be any deeper rally, that will just continue going down. All right, so maybe even Tuesday, like those will be the two latest days to see if either of them close red or even close still below this yellow line. All right, let's dive into the pairs. So I deleted a few of my trade ideas. They were just taking too long to come to fruition. Okay, so I'll cycle through a couple of the pairs that I have highlighted in blue, right? Like I'm not going to go through everything this time around, but as you can see, USD is gaining a lot of momentum at market open, right? That big red candle on AUD USD is a pretty big move right now. But yeah, we'll see how the rest of the market plays out, right? This is just Australia and Japan session right now. London and European session won't open for another 5 hours yet, so nothing really to worry about. Anyway, so CAD JPY, this was the first one that I had marked down, and I'll jump on the daily. Okay, my belief on this trade, actually, I had drawn up. I believed it was going to go low, but this was as low as it went, popped back up, and this was long time ago anyway, right? So it's just been in consolidation, and it's actually good to see this way because if I take the volume profile and I'll draw it even from this low to this high, okay, right here, you can see that the majority of the volume was right here. So this already came into play and now went higher. So now if I take the volume and go from this peak to the end of this consolidation, we're still sitting at major volume way down there. All right. Now, from this bottom, whoops, wrong one. From this bottom right here to this peak, majority is still sitting there. But right now we've been consolidating here. And the only reason that I can see is because of the imbalances that were left. Right, so you can see I drew the volume here, here, and here, like from bottom to top, top to bottom, and you can see this dead space almost 3 times. Right, the third time it was a little bit filled, but it's slightly lower, and that's where it's been consolidating. Jeez, my throat's killing, guys. I'm really sorry. I'm gonna pause for a second. Oh, have a nice hot cup of tea. All right. Anyway, so that's kind of where it's sitting, but I believe this is a very good candle pattern to recognize. You know, sort of like a morning star. The only issue is that it has a very long wick, right? Not the worst thing in the world. It's still that same type of pattern that we'd be looking for. And it's a very strong indicator that this wants to go up, right? These 3 candles, red, like little doji, and then big green. Okay, and especially if the lines haven't crossed, that's a very strong indicator that this is still going up, right? So a good entry for now for CAD JPY would have actually been, let's see, where would we go? Not just yet, actually, because we are following that white line, but we're not making new highs. So I would wait until it crosses this line right here. If it rejects, taking a sell, just a short-term sell, maybe to about there where the white line could possibly be, you know, and super tight, like 15 pips stop loss. There's no sense in going crazy with this one, just because it can do some crazy spikes and you can be in this, you know, it could trigger your stop loss at 60 or 70 pips, or it could slowly keep going up, right? So 15 pips would be my threshold here. Pretty decent, 10, almost 11 to 1 ratio for it just to be zigzagging in between its consolidated areas, right? So we can see that right now, even if we drop the structure, right? We just take a horizontal line. Here's the peak, horizontal line. Here's kind of the bottoms, right, where it's been testing. You know, once it hits this peak area, what's the chance it'll break above? Well, slim, right? It's been going lower every time. Maybe even entry at the bottom of that zone and a wick, you know, yeah, 15 pips is still plenty, right? So just over there. I think that's a pretty decent entry. We'll see how that ends up working out, okay? So Euro AUD. Nothing too exciting going on here. It has been following a consistent path down, right? So, I mean, it's very close, but it kind of peaked a little higher there. But it's still, you know, for the most part, besides this candle pattern, everything's been going to a downward wedge, right? So what this leads into is usually a bull run, and judging from where we're sitting at now, I have a feeling it's going to retrace even further, right? I mean, look at this perfect candle pattern that it could come back to, right? Because right now, where we're sitting from low to high on the fib, we're almost at that 50% here, right, from this area. So I can see it dropping further down, further, or maybe consolidate for a few more days, maybe even a week or so, till it gets a little bit lower. Or, I mean, depending on what news comes out this week, it could really just be a total smoke show and drop even further. All right, but I'm not gonna be drawing off. I'm not expecting it to go this high anymore. Not in the short term anyway. Like, I believe this will probably happen maybe beginning of next year. Like, this is a very slow moving chart. You can see it's been consolidating down. And very large gaps, right? So, I mean, if we grab it at the peak of this wedge, there's a very good chance that that's going to be a good entry zone. All right, that's all I'm thinking there. Euro CAD, same idea, right? Like I thought it was going to pull up higher, but this week has been very interesting as far as boring moves, right? But here we go. Like from this low to this high, you can even see that it just kind of touched that 618, right? Very close. But I believe now, once this candle closes in 2.5 hours, even if it's going to be a doji, it will cross the EMAs, right? Oh, shit. Man, I can't stop coughing. So once that happens, that would be a good sign for entry. And again, short term, even if it's just going to be something like this, right? It's still like 500 pips to grab, but maybe even just to the top of that one, 250 pips. How low would I go? Maybe just to that white EMA line, 47 pips. A good 5.3 to 1 ratio, maybe for a couple of days worth of trades. Okay, Euro CHF, not as exciting as the other two, I would say, but this has clearly been going up, so maybe that's as deep as the retracement is going to go. EMA's already shifted, so I mean, taking an entry right now with a decent stop loss wouldn't be so bad. You know, thinking of doing something maybe like this, even if entry would be taken right now, right? You can still see 55 pips. I mean, it's all the way down to the bottom. That's pretty safe. Heading up a little bit higher. So let's see, just a little over this. I don't know. I mean, it's not even looking like a 2 to 1 right now. But either way, if it hits my first target, then I move my stop loss to break even. So we'll see how that holds up right now. GBPAUD. This has been going nicely. Jeez. Sorry for the coughing, guys. Like, it's just killing me this week. You know what? Maybe I'm going to suck on a lozenge. There we go. All right. So GBPAUD, entry was good. Okay. Like I was mentioning before, around this zone is what I was expecting, but I was waiting for an EMA shift. So yeah, I mean, the first EMA shift would have been right here, but super choppy. The next candle would have probably broken me out, right? Just because it was so, like it was a parallel candle, green beside red, and I would have put my stop loss kind of at the peak of red, so that would have broken. All right, so that would have been a bummer when it was drawn up 2 weeks ago. Next EMA shift didn't really happen. As you can see, it's a super choppy, just back and forth nonsense like this until this one right here. So that right here at the end of this candle, that's where I took my entry. Okay. And yeah, I mean, it kind of sucked for a little bit, going negative 40 pips, right? But that's why I always say 60 pips is my threshold, right? And right now, I'm glad I pulled through on this one. It's currently 342 pips in profit. So looking very good. 342 on a 60 pip stop loss. That is just shy of a 6 to 1. All right, so looking pretty good. GBPAUD, going to keep an eye on you. There might be a good potential for another entry if you do a simple fib retracement right from that high to this low. It could go all the way as high as that. Right, I'll delete this box now. It's not necessary. It could go all the way up as high as this. But I would say if there is an EMA shift going up, be mindful of it kind of consolidating, and then once it shifts back down, that would be a good good spot for a potential sell entry once again. GBPJPY, you know, I marked this up, but I don't remember why. I think I deleted my trade ID off this. It wasn't going to be as beneficial as I thought. But as you can see here, kind of made a double bottom on that short term, right? So oh geez, well, whatever, I'll delete that now. But I think right now from this made a double bottom. Once I see that EMA shift, that'll be a good potential continuation to go up, right? You could already see the longer EMA lines all pointing up. The yellow and the red starting to turn upwards as well. The only one is the pink that's out of whack. right? So, I mean, once yellow crosses red going up, that will be a very good potential for entry as well, especially because we are following trend, right? So looking at something like this, let's see, 60 would be the threshold, like I said. Taking it up to that peak, maybe, you know what, down to about here. I would say that is 618 territory. Look at that. I just know it so well now. I got there exactly. All right. So, you know, right there, that'll be a TP1. So 4-to-1 is not too shabby. And if it just breaks through, I would let it ride, see how high it could go. That would be my ultimate take profit. You know, I would, if I see it still continuing, probably close off 75% of the position and let 25% ride, see where it ends up. Right, but a potential 8.6 to 1 overall. GBPUSD, I missed it unfortunately. I realized it after it started doing a little consolidation. I'm like, hang on a second. Oh no, imbalance, 50%. What a beautiful possible entry. Whatever. Unfortunate, but sometimes that kind of thing happens, right? Could have been, would have been, should have been, doesn't matter, right? Still 316 pips in profit after 11 days. Maybe 10 days, whatever. I'm a little early on that. But thing is, GBPAUD working out much nicer, right? And nothing really to worry about there. Same sort of idea. So that's fine. The only other thing was oil. So let's pop on US oil quickly. Now you can see you know, black line rejection before, black line rejection, right? So we could be seeing another drop. I do not believe it's going to be dropping back down that far. So the way I like to take oil is fib, right? You can see fib right here, 618. So within a fib, right, even to this guy, 618, but I have a feeling that one would make more sense. Right, fib within fib, so the potential for it to drop back down to here is pretty good, right? This will be kind of a long-term flag pattern, and that's what I see happening when it's like fibs within fibs, right? So taking it from this area with a stop loss where that black line is, so I mean less than $1 for a position isn't too shabby, and taking it all the way down to the 618. You know, a potential 6.5 to 1 ratio on oil in the short term. Seems pretty good. See where that actually ends up going. All right, and let's see quickly gold and silver. Deep retracements, right? US dollar slacked off a little bit at the end of the week, as you can see. Skyrocket. And again, the reason is because interest rates went up, so USD kind of took a nosedive everywhere else. Right? You take USD JPY, for example. That was last week. This doesn't really tell us much of a story. Let's see USD CHF. Yeah, here we go, right? Interest rates come out. Well, first it goes up, right? In anticipation. Oh, no, it's actually, this is where the moves happen, like the big wicks are usually what do it, right? So they went up temporarily and they dropped the next day. That's kind of what I started expecting when interest rates are increased for a country. It's very volatile for about 30 minutes or so, right? So watch. Let's see this wick. I bet you it's on the 30-minute mark. Okay? Yeah, see, look. Big red down, then big green up. So 30-minute mark right here on Wednesday at noon my time. That's about right. I think news came out about 2 p.m. Eastern. Right, so for an hour and a half, lots of movement, and then a whole lot of nothing. And then finally continued, and then it tanked. So, you know, thing is, it just pulled back to where all this nonsense started. So I have a feeling it's going to continue going up, but maybe not just yet. Anyway, that's Forex in a nutshell, guys. Hope it helps for this week. Like I want to remind you again, we're deep into the end of the season. It is now November 6th, where I'm filming this, and winter sucks for trading, guys. I just want to tell you right now, like, it's not going to be as profitable as, maybe March, April, and May. I found those this year to be pure gold. Like, they were fantastic months to trade in. I think overall between those two, almost, what did I net? Around 9,000 pips in total, right? If we wanna count the pips that way, it's about 9,000. And I'm not talking about NASDAQ pips where it's like 500 or 600 a day where some of those moves can happen. I'm talking Forex, right? There was a lot of moves, very good potential trade ideas. And, if you don't believe me, there's videos to watch. I have them going back all the way until middle of March of this year. So yeah, April 9th, I would say, is probably the go-to video. That one had a lot of winners picked. So anyway, guys, thank you very much for watching, and I'll catch you next week.